Hey there folks, Chumpask here, bringing another audio commentary, and today we have a game between Fly and th actually, and this is going to be on a map that many of you are probably not familiar with, Last Refuge, which if you haven't seen it, let's just take a quick tour. There's one expansion here in this top corner, then there's another expansion that's much trickier to creep out, that's quite close actually to that first one, but generally is taken by the other player, because normally you split the map diagonally, and obviously this map is very easy to creep. It's the same creep campus you get on things like Echo Wild, so it can be crept out very quickly for a very quick human expansion if that's what they want. Otherwise, there are a bunch of small camps nearby. There's a goblin. There's two goblin labs here, and then there's two shops in the east-west positions here, and they are again guarded by this very common creep combination here, and there's a bunch of other small camps around as well. So there's some good creeping going on here, or potential going on here, but normally what you see on this map, in this matchup at least, is a tower rush really from th at tier 2. I suspect that's what we'll be seeing, because you can there are two bases apiece. You can try and go for Mount King play and get out those Griffin Riders, but it's a bit tricky because the expansions are pretty far apart unless you try and go for too close. Indeed we do see th going for that Archmage first, so we'll have to see how he wants to play it out. He might try and play out a longer game, but normally the best strategy, especially with these positions, or with this map, where it's very quick to get from one side to the other, and really on the way you can stop off at the tavern as well. So there's a good likelihood that I think that's what we will be seeing from th. We do have the Blademaster now coming out from Fly, who will probably want to be doing some creeping first. You can try and go for the harassment, but really in this situation it's probably better to be just getting that level 2 himself, and then trying to do some harassment maybe, depending on exactly where th is crept first, and whether or not he's going to actually go for an expansion. And th indeed going to creep out this camp here. He actually brings out 4 militia. I'm not sure if he strictly needs that. I think he probably could get away with a couple fewer, and unfortunately he does get his footman ensnared there, and we do see Fly meanwhile doing some creeping of his own. We see that first footman of th just being used to scout here. This is something that th does in most matchups really, especially when he knows it's a 2-spawn map, because he can just get that footman there immediately. He doesn't lose too much because he can just bring out a couple extra militia to do that creeping. And it not only just gets some good scouting, but it also is distracting the Blademaster there for a bit, who now you can see he didn't actually creep out the other trappers. He just crept out the ogre, picked up the item, which was a ring of protection, and it will now be actually he wind walks away, trying to dodge the footman. It looks like he has been successful in doing so, and th now probably going to try and find another camp to creep out just to get that level 2. And in the meantime, we do see it keep going up as well as a lumber mill. So certainly both signs of tower rushes, but certainly we could be seeing some sort of tier 2 expansion, something like that as well. It's pretty good. And actually, we do have Fly being really caught out here. He will be forced to retreat, and actually, one of the footmen of th does get ensnared though, so this could go a bit better here for Fly. It's the creeps now start attacking that footman as well, and this could be a very early win here for Fly if he does manage to get this kill. The ensnare is going to finish off here, but we do see that the Blademaster has done so much damage now that the footman can't really get anywhere. That poison damage really helped as well, and the Blademaster does get a bonus chunk of experience there, and actually did take a lot of damage though, so it's alright position, but certainly it's not the best in the world. And Fly now doing some nice pathing blocking here, just really wants to stop the Archmage from getting to a creep camp where he can get his level 2, because that can be so problematic here for the Orc. th actually with a huge amount of mana left on his Archmage. It's quite surprising really that he hasn't used more water elementals so far this game. Actually, now the Archmage went for those boots, but unfortunately just couldn't get to them in time, and the Blademaster did get them, and now he's going to be able to put down a lot of damage onto this level 1 Archmage, who's really going to be on the run here. This footman does get in the way of the Blademaster a bit here, and it looks like the Blademaster actually going to go for the footman instead, deciding that he probably won't be able to get any sort of Archmage kill, and I think it could be worthwhile just trying to attack the Archmage though, just to do that damage, because it really prevents him from doing much in terms of tower rushing early on. And looks like Fly now actually did get that one footman kill. He's probably not going to get any more though, because they will be able just to run behind this barracks. And the tier 2 almost now done here for th. And actually we're in a similar position here. Fly though putting up a war mill though, so maybe could be going for some defense with towers, and then eventually demolishers if that tower rush should come from th. And we do see a bunch of militia now being brought out here. No tier 2 structures being built, so we're probably going to be seeing maybe a Firelord, maybe a Beastmaster, both very common these days. Mount King Cow Rushes have really fallen by the wayside a large amount recently. Actually, not even that recently, quite a while ago they stopped being useful. Really, there were only a couple players like th000 who ever used to try and play them at all, and they were very sort of mixed bag. And looks like th hasn't yet picked up a second hero, which is a bit surprising, but it looks like he has left one unit here, so we will be able to pick up a second hero shortly. But this Archmage really in a lot of trouble, has picked up the boots from the other shop thankfully, so we will be able to run away, but really Fly in a very nice position so far. Could be able to pick off a bunch of these peasants as well, and looks like the second hero of choice though for th is the Firelord, and he will be able to bring that in now and scare away the grunts and eventually the Blademaster. But the Blademaster has now got level 2, and actually looks like th maybe gonna lose another peasant. No, as the dust is used here by th, and Fly definitely going to be forced out of there. He was getting a bit greedy going for that last peasant, and he did pay for it a bit here. And it looks like actually this one grunt might now go down. We have one tower going down the back here for Fly as one grunt does go down, and the Demolisher on the way now for Fly as well. But actually his base build isn't too fantastic for getting Demolisher to the back of his base. You will need to be careful about that. The Blademaster is taking a lot of damage, has picked up a potion of healing, and does immediately pop it there. And th now is taking a lot of damage on his Archmage, which is still only level 1, as finally the Shadow Hunter does pop out, and we are seeing Starbright Orange being used here. A very smart choice there. As Fly now takes down one more footman, and we'll be able to take down these other two as well, as another Serpent Ward does go down. But look how many slab spawns there are out, and we do see the Demolisher pops out in the worst position ever here. Really bad base design here by Fly. Gonna mean he immediately loses that Demolisher, but now the Archmage could be forced yet again to go on the run. It's level 2, but that aura isn't going to affect the Firelord, unfortunately. Now, as the Blademaster gets a very low health, down to 9 hit points before he manages to use that healing potion. Very nice play there by Fly, managing to just get out in the nick of time, as actually he managed to take down that Water Elemental as well with the Shadow Hunter to get a nice chunk of experience there. The Blademaster actually sitting doing nothing for a second there, as 4 lava spawns come in here, lots of them actually with a good amount of time left as well, so really going to be able to put on a good amount of damage here, as th building 2 more towers after those initial 3 have finished. And looks like this one watchtower from Fly going to take a lot of damage. Oh, this Demolisher pops out in a terrible position. His own hero is blocking it, and I think maybe even the Serpent Ward is going to cause some problems here. Fly just going to try and keep it there and try and do what damage he can. There's not too many footmen left for th, which obviously you can just sacrifice it as sort of meat while you use your summons to take down Demolishers. And it looks like in the meantime actually that one tower did go down here for Fly, but he is immediately rebuilding it here, and really this Demolisher should probably be moved somewhere in here just for safety, because it will cost them a bit of damage in the short term, but really getting it into a safe position is so important, because it can just do so much damage if it's allowed to attack for 2 or 3 minutes unhindered. As we now see one more Serpent Ward going up, but unfortunately it's just as this one guard tower finishes, so it's not really going to be able to do anything before it's immediately taken down there. And th now going to try and move back in. He's 2-1, but his Firelord's actually gotten a good chunk of experience, considering it hasn't been out for that long. We do have 2-1 as well, actually with a pretty similar position. Both the main heroes are low level 2, and both the second heroes are high level 1, so pretty similar at this point. But really there's so much pressure being put on here now by th, as we now see this Blademaster taking a lot of damage, will be forced to buy a healing potion. He does buy it and immediately pops it there, as we see now a couple of these footmen just getting into the gold line and doing a lot of damage there. And now the Blademaster taking a lot of damage yet again. Does need to be careful here. He does use a Windwalk to get away, and we now see the second Demolisher does pop out, and these Demolishers are really going to start causing some trouble, as we do see the barracks does go down. But at this point really Fly can spend his gold on items, maybe try and rebuild his barracks in the back of his base. I'm not sure actually he has space for it because of the position of this burrow and because of where he's been harvesting lumber from, so maybe he won't be able to rebuild his barracks, which could cause problems. But since he already has 2 Demolishers out, it's not the absolute end of the game, but really at this point it's a lot of trouble here for Fly, who's really losing a lot here, just because he's being forced to repair this stronghold, and over time more towers will probably be going up here for th, and we'll have to see how Fly wants to defend that. But we do see th now coming back in yet again. Really the range damage from the summons as well as the range damage from the heroes are the best way to take down these Demolishers. And we see a 2-pronged attack going down here by th, half his army going for each of the Demolishers, and it looks like Fly being able to save both of them pretty well, but unfortunately one of them does get trapped now and will go down. But a lot of damage being taken now on this Firelord, going to be forced back by the Blademaster, and it looks like the second Demolisher being repaired. Oh, so close to going down, but it looks like the repair rate's actually pretty decent at this point because of the Firelord being chased away and because of lots of the summons being taken down already. This Blademaster down to almost no health, being forced to speech go away. Looks like the Demolisher will go down. No, it's just barely being saved. No, finally does go down there, as we see this Archmage now really going on the hunt, but it does get hexed there by that level 2 Shadow Hunter. Blademaster comes in, does get the kill, and does eventually get out with 29 hit points to go. Very nice play there, as this Firelord Lord now goes down as well to the, actually both the heroes went down in the same position basically at the same time. Very, very unfortunate there for th, who's really actually now in a bit of a weird position because he has this huge pressure coming on here. th really going to be able to do a lot of damage to the stronghold. Fly going to have to dedicate a lot of resources to try keeping that alive. Bear in mind he has always lumber peons and burrows, and he's going to run out of lumber pretty soon. He's actually now started to rebuild those peons, and we do see this one barracks has been rebuilt, and these demolishers are so important because he just needs to keep out of the range of those towers with his heroes. Actually, he's not doing a great job of that with the Shadow Hunter here, but Shadow Hunter can take a bit of damage still. This Blade Master, meanwhile, is going to be healing up quite a bit. As we see, the Fire Lord's already out almost level 2, so it's actually pretty lucky that he wasn't, because it meant that Fire Lord back out so much quicker. As we now see, this one Demolisher pops out, but unfortunately immediately aggroes on the Trappers. We see some nice blocking there by th, really nice micro by both players this game. As we see, actually, because of that footman being in that position, it would have forced the Demolisher to go up into the range of the towers, and now the Demolisher just barely lives as the Hex is off on this footman as well, just to keep this Demolisher alive for as long as possible. Really, really solid play here, but unfortunately the Fire Lord does come in, and there's not too much Fly can do about that. It looks like the Demolisher actually attacking trees now to try and forge a new route out, and the Blade Master coming in to do as much damage to the Fire Lord as possible, but it's not quite enough. As we see, this Fire Lord does hit level 2 with the killing of that Demolisher, which was so important. So much was wagered on either side there on killing and keeping that Demolisher alive, and just was not Fly's day apparently. Fly now actually quite low on lumber, so he really will need to be making the most of all these peons, keeping them out of the burrows more or less for as much as possible, just to try and get that lumber economy back going, just so he can buy demolishers. That's all he really needs to spend lumber on at this point, as well as obviously repairing, but really that's not too big an investment at this point, because TH's towers that were going up here were killed, and we now do see those 2 towers as well going down to those serpent wards, which do piercing damage, so bonus damage to those towers before they finally go into guard tower form. And we do have the first masonry upgrade as well here for th, so his towers do have a bit extra durability as well. So we do have the Archmage now back in the battle. We'll be able to bring up one Royal Elemental soon. Actually, a Blacksmith going up here for th. This is really interesting. Presumably it's not for upgrade, so what I'm guessing he wants to go for here is to go for a workshop, which is actually a pretty interesting decision here. Obviously he's building the blacksmith here because he has the peasants already here. May as well not use the ones that could be harvesting at home when these ones are doing nothing. And I think with a workshop, it's likely that we're going to be seeing mortar teams. So certainly, actually look at this Fly being very clever, picking up a Zeppelin here, so he can actually get his Demolisher out of there. Just observe a really huge reaction to a bad base build here, and actually worked quite well in the end, because he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to this Fire Lord. I think he's going for the surround there with the Serpent Ward. I'm not sure quite what he was planning there, because there was obviously that one other route out, but that Serpent Ward was weirdly placed to be sure. And as I was saying, actually look at these creeps being aggroed here, up here. I'm not sure how he got vision, or maybe the creeps were, or maybe the towers were just slightly too close to the creeps. I'm not quite sure on this map, but certainly that's pretty unfortunate there for th, who's now going to have to fight the creeps as well as this Demolisher, which is now doing some good damage here. But I think if we do see a workshop go up, which I can't imagine there's anything other planned here for th, then certainly he can get those mortar teams, which will be very, very nice range siege damage, not only against the Demolishers, but also just a lot of extra damage to the stronghold. But also he could get one flying machine for detection against that Blade Master, which is a very, very smart thing to do if you ever do get a workshop out against Orc, which is so rare, obviously, because of Ensnare normally, which isn't a factor in this game so far. We do now see this Blade Master now coming out, being able to take down 2 water elementals, but while keeping this Demolisher alive. Really nice micro here, has forced a lot of footmen to be sacrificed into his base. For really very little gain. So Fly being able to stick in this game certainly, but really his base build is so atrocious here that he's really is paying constantly for it. And it looks like this Shadow Hunter now actually doing a bit of damage here, but taking a lot more really. And we do now see this workshop has actually been completed, and we do have one flying machine on the way, and that is going to give detection here. So this Blade Master will need to get out of here as soon as it's realized what's happening. But the flying machine actually not quite in the right position here, just needs to move a couple of inches over, and we'll be able to see that Blade Master. But in the meantime, we do now have this Demolisher taking a lot of damage. The second Demolisher has now been built as well, and we do now see the Demolisher being repaired as the Blade Master tries to do more and more damage, but just takes so much here, and that will need to buy a healing potion or maybe some salves. But obviously with salving and wind walking, you need to be so careful. Oh, nice pick up there with the Zeppelin at the last second there, because he knew he was blocked there. and looks like he will be salving up, but bear in mind, if the flying machine comes in and one hit goes off there on that Playmaster, which would just be so unexpected there by a Fly, until actually now where he's seeing that, or seeing certainly the effects of the flying machine. I'm not sure if he actually saw the flying machine, so he does now know that he can't just be very, very cocky with his wind walking in and wind walking out in the range of towers, as we now see TH going to lose one of these footmen here that's giving enough experience to get the Shadow Hunter up to level 3, as we now see the second footman taking a lot of damage, and actually for some reason turned around for a second, which means that he will go down, but it looks like this stronghold now down to only 300 health, as we see mortar team starting to do damage to it. This is so bad now for Fly. Can he hold out? He does have the hero level advantage, but that's really almost all he has. Bear in mind, TH still only 2-2 on his hero, so really not that much going for him in terms of experience. But here comes the Hex here as the Blademaster runs in. He does manage to take down that Archmage so quickly, and now he does need to run out his Blademaster. Blademaster, bear in mind, is so low on health, and it just takes quite a while to heal him up like this. So it's going to mean that he can't do too much, but in the meantime, he has managed to take down a couple of the towers now, and maybe good to be able to hold off TH, as he's now down to just this Firelord, as we see actually now the Shadow Hunter really getting into the middle of things here, taking a lot more damage than he maybe needs to be taking at this point. But the Blademaster now coming in, going to try and get the kill off here on this Firelord. Obviously, it wasn't too unexpected here by TH, as we see this Shadow Hunter actually taking a lot more damage. And now a bit of a ring around the rosy going on here for TH, as he's just trying to keep this Firelord alive. He does buy a healing potion. Bear in mind, the Blademaster has a healing potion as well. And we do now see the Firelord actually gets the soul burn off there onto that Firelord, who does now pop the healing potion, and now TH going to be able to chase away that Firelord, or that Blademaster, having kept the Firelord alive. So very, very nice play there. That's actually the Shadow Hunter goes in. I'm not even sure where that happened. I just completely didn't see that at all, and for some reason the Shadow Hunter just died. I'm not sure where that even could have happened, but now unfortunately creeps yet again being brought on here down to these guard towers. You see a lot more peasants being brought in. The Zeppelins now being picked up on, or the Zeppelins being used to pick up the Demolishers. Very, very nice play. Actually, the Altar of Storms, having been killed, will need to be rebuilt before that Shadow Hunter can come back, and the Archmage is now back as well here for TH, as we see the Blademaster healing up and actually clearing up in this corner, just trying to stay out of the fight for as long as possible. The Stronghold's back down to full health, but the shop actually not taking a lot of damage, and the shop is so important when you're just relying on heroes. You need to get your items, or you need to have as many items as possible. Fly runs in here to do some last minute shopping, buys a healing potion here before that shop is taken down, and now we do have the Blademaster running in, could be able to take down one of these mortar teams. Gonna go for the second one as well. Will he be able to get it though in time before he's forced to run out? Looks like he will be able to get it here. Oh, he's forced to wind off one more time than he probably would have liked to there, and does now actually go for more peasants as well, so he's really taking a lot of damage here. Did use that healing potion as well, and he's not going to be able to buy that back for a long time now, so interesting choice there to take down a couple of peasants and take a lot more damage for the price. And looks like we do now have these Demolishers in the back doing a lot of damage to these towers, which are being reconstructed, but really far too slowly. And it looks like TH has lost his momentum after having the Stronghold almost dead. Fly's really been able to be so resilient in this game. The Shadow Hunter's back on the way, and the Blademaster is now level 4 as well, compared to still only 2-2 here. This is really one of the downsides of a tower rush, is that you never gain any experience, as we now see these two Demolishers in the back really being heroic, doing a lot of damage. You see they're actually on attack ground, or at least one of them is, and Fly is unaware that that one tower was taken down, but he does now refocus his attacks as he sends his Blademaster to try and take down this Firelord. Firelord now takes a lot of damage. Actually, TH just leaves the game. No GG there. Really surprising, but very, very nice defense there by Fly. Really so close to the edge, and that's really how you want to play it. You want to get as close to the edge as possible before moving back out, because you want to have as much time as possible to gain as big an advantage as possible. And really that does mean that sometimes you take a lot of damage on your Stronghold, as we saw there, but such nice defense there. So I hope you enjoyed that game, folks. Really, really nice tower defense by Fly, really showing the power of Orc in such a position where often Orcs just crumble. And I'll try to bring you some more games in the near future. Thanks for watching as ever, folks.